Honourable Member for Drumheller Step.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I recently received a disturbing first-hand account of how this rural crime epidemic is getting out of hand. Just over a week ago, a band of thieves converged on a small community with no other purpose but to wreak havoc. These perpetrators went on a robbing and destruction spree, the tally of which was over $100,000. Despite repeated calls to the RCMP hours away, they were unable to help. Minister, you recently stated that almost half of the 39 new RCMP are already in place in Alberta. Can you share with us where these members have been stationed?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and to the member for the question. It is absolutely critical to our government, and I think to all members in this House, that all Albertans feel safe in their homes. Mr. Speaker, that's why we're investing in ensuring that we can respond to rural crime. Mr. Speaker, a great many of these individuals are in what are called crime reduction units, which are intended to target exactly what the member is raising. These units are able to focus on prolific offenders who are creating havoc in our communities, and they are already achieving results, as I've illustrated just recently, and I'm sure I'll have more to say in just a moment.
Supplemental.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. Given that over the course of the day, these thieves were spotted at various locations, but the RCMP an extensive time away, they were not to be apprehended. And given that sometime over the course of the day, they showed up at another farmer's yard and threatened his life over a tank of gasoline, and given the community was understandably on edge until they were arrested with the community's help. Again, Mr. Speaker, I ask, Minister, you continually ask about and talk about boots on the ground. Of the 39 new RCMP slated for Alberta, how many have been assigned duties in rural Alberta on a permanent basis, and were they actually able to improve response?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And just to clarify, those RCMP officers, as announced in the rural crime strategy, are all in rural Alberta, Mr. Speaker. Many of those individuals are being put into what we call crime reduction units. The member has illustrated some incredibly disturbing events, Mr. Speaker. Those are exactly the sorts of events that I've been hearing about and that our MLAs have been hearing about as well. That's why, Mr. Speaker, we've taken this proactive step to create these crime reduction units that can target exactly the sorts of prolific offenders that the member raises.
Second supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, given that the incident I just referenced and these perpetrators were out of jail days after on $3,000 bail, and given this catch-and-release philosophy is simply compounding this rural crime problem, Minister, when will this government and your ministry get tough on rural crime?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And again, the episode that the member is illustrating is the same as many episodes that we've heard about from many rural Albertans, Mr. Speaker. That's why that we've taken the step to ensure that we are making the necessary investments, Mr. Speaker, in these crime reduction units so that they can gather evidence on these individuals, Mr. Speaker, and build a stronger case. Mr. Speaker, this is about proactive policing, about ensuring that we have the requisite number of resources in place to ensure that we can target these offenders, because all Albertans deserve to feel safe in their homes.
Thank you.